I want to know if other people struggle with the morning as much as I do. So today I am asking Tom Crowley about his morning routine and his expertise in handheld retro gaming. WUWAH. Good morning. My name is David. This is WUWAH. I hope that you're having a nice day. I can't say my name or the name of the show within the first minute of the show, so I'm just going to use this time to gently motivate you into the day. I hope you're up and out of bed. You've had some water and some breakfast, and I hope you've winked at yourself in the back of a spoon. I hope you've remembered that you're not behind and you've never been behind. And I hope you've planned to buy more squash. On this show, I like to ask comedians, creative people about their morning routines to see if they're coping as badly as I am. I also like to ask them about their expertise so I can learn more. Today, my guest is Tom Crowley. He is an actor, a podcaster, a master of betrayal, and a voice actor. And he is an expert in retro handheld gaming. My name is David Hoare, and welcome to Waking Up with a Hoare.
Waking up with a Hoare. Waking up with a Hoare. Waking up with a Hoare.
Fully broadcastable Crowley.
That's a good name.
Oh, yeah.
Fully broadcastable Crowley. And the only thing to remind yourself is that my first guest, Sanjay Arif, suggested that I remind everyone that people might be listening to this in the morning, although I think Dan Thomas contested that, and then you messaged me specifically saying that you don't listen to it in the morning.
I don't listen to it in the morning, no.
But you do listen to it, which is nice. But
yeah,
just saying you don't.
I was just listening
to it in the morning or any other time of day. So you're listening to which?
Well, I don't have a schedule for listening to podcasts. It's just whenever I'm doing something like mundane, like brushing my teeth or cooking or anything that requires the time to be passed. I stick a little earbud in, and that's when the podcast happens. So you might be on at like first thing in the morning while I'm making coffee, or you might be on last thing at night when I'm washing up from dinner.
Oh, wow.
It's not a fair or just system. There's no judgment involved.
Tom Crowley spends a lot of time in his kitchen at the beginning and end of days. This is what I want to know.
That's very true. This is very true.
Well, let's get into it. Tom Crowley, are you a morning person?
You know what, David? You're going to absolutely despise me because yes, I am.
I knew it. I knew you were a bastard the moment I laid ears on you.
Laid ears on me. Stop doing that, by the way. It's really greasy.
Yeah, just laying it on the side.
Mm-hmm.
I do like
a bit. Well, yeah, okay. So I would say that actually, more accurately, it's here and there. I should say, because the reason that you say this is a morning podcast is to be very soothing and gentle, like the morning on the way to work.
I've already called you a bastard. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's true. It's been quite aggressive so far. Well, I'll be aggressive back.
Yeah,
I bloody love being a morning, but no. Okay, so generally, I'd say yes, I am. I'm good at. I'm out of me and my wife. I'm the one that wakes up earlier and finds it easier to just like wrench myself out of bed, like tear myself out from under the covers and force myself to go and make hot drinks and that kind of thing. So it's me that is the nominated one for doing that. But then it's cumulative, isn't it? So if you have like a couple of nights of being too much of a morning person, the next day is when you'll end up feeling absolutely wretched when you get up. So it's important to go easy on yourself sometimes, isn't it? Which is part of the message of this show.
Yes, but wait, are you saying that if you wake up too early too many times, then you go? Because I'm all about like if you wake up too late too many times. But you're saying if you wake up early too many times, then it ruins you. Yeah, I guess
you need enough sleep. So, for example, I was gonna say the one thing I've prepared for this wonderful show, the only thing other than my fabulous, dazzling personality, is to ask you, what do you think is the worst way to wake up? Because I think I know what it is.
Well, I should say I've got my dog on my lap for viewers just suddenly saw my
dog's head just appeared. That's not relevant.
Face to face with your dog is great. Worst way to wake up whilst keeping it light, I guess.
Oh yeah, not other than like a bomb going off outside or someone holding a gun to your face. Yeah, mundane levels of every day.
Ill, maybe.
That's a really good one.
Illness.
That's good because then the whole day is going to be full of being ill, which is terrible.
Yes.
What I was going to say is the worst way to wake up within normal parameters, average parameters, is to a phone call, which when you answer it, someone immediately says, "Where are you?"
Yeah.
That's the worst way. And that's happened to me once in a serious way. and it was back when I was running. So if you remember, you might not remember, but Vault Festival used to run in the tunnels underneath Waterloo Station,
Right.
which is a great arts festival. Became a huge hotbed of like talent in fringy, people who were not wealthy theatre, basically, and comedians doing a lot of preview shows and things. Great festival. And I became friends. I did a couple of years of it and became friends with the organisers. And I was interested in programming stuff and maybe putting on little festivals of my own. So they allowed me, amazingly, to run a mini festival within the festival, which I called the Locker, because what's a smaller thing inside a vault? The Locker. So it was brilliant. I did some fundraising on Kickstarter. I commissioned like a few people I knew who were writers to write new work for it. They did great stuff, and also just got a load of people I liked in to do comedy previews and reruns of their Edinburgh shows from the previous year. Little kind of zero set plays and things as well. It was great, but it was just me doing it really. Like it was each show had their own producer, but organising the entire thing, liaising with the Vault Festival people. There was this bloody permanent curtain that was hanging up all the time, where some shows really didn't want it there, and some shows were like, no, we need it there to conceal an entrance or whatever. So it had to be, me and some of the tech crew up and down ladders, like removing it. And this was, the ceiling was 30 feet high. Like this was a big underground vault tunnel that this was taking place in. So we were up these incredibly dangerous ladders, unhooking and rehooking this bloody curtain over and over again. Anyway, so it was a lot of work. And on one of the last days of this, it ran across, I think, 2 weekends. It might have been the very last day of it or the penultimate day. I was also... some people I knew and I were putting on a work in progress reading of a musical, a new musical, which I think the composer and I are still keen to do sometime, an adaptation of Roger Corman's film A Bucket of Blood as a jazz musical. If you look it up, like it's been attempted before doing a musical out of it, but no slight on the people that did it. I ain't seen one of them become the definitive one yet. So hopefully that's still an open door. But we were going to do a sort of seated read through with a live piano with my musical collaborator Alex Beechin on the piano, and a little cast trying out this script and these songs. And we were going to rehearse that morning from like 11 a.m. and the show would be from like 1. And it was a free show because it was a little work in progress, just a tester. And on that morning at about 11 a.m. I got a phone call saying, "Where are you?" Because it was the one day when my entire system essentially packed in. From getting not nearly enough sleep, exhausting my body every single day, organising this stuff, running rehearsals. I directed a play that was on the previous week. I was doing much too much, and I was young and hale and hearty and taking full advantage of that fact. So the one time I've ever slept, literally not only slept in, but slept through to a commitment was that morning. I ran in the shower, threw my clothes on, and got the train to Waterloo, and was there, luckily, with a bit of time remaining till the show actually started. So it was all right. But
absolutely. I can really tell you are a morning person, because any night owls listening to that, the fact that you have like a full anecdote for the one time somebody's rung you gone, "Where are you?" Whereas for me, it's like, which time?
Yeah, which time? Yeah, which time was I late? Which time did I wake up on the wrong continent? What time? Which time did I wake up?
I don't know that I've done wrong continent. Maybe have I?
Wrong city?
I can't remember. I've definitely know of instances where you kind of go, "Oh well, somebody I've booked for my show that I run in Bristol, Chops," and I'm like, "This is the lineup for today," and then I get a private message from one of them being like, "I am in Sweden, so I can't be on stage in Bristol this evening," and I'm like, "Okay."
In 7 hours, yeah.
So I should say, before it goes any further, I do need to. I kind of holding on to the little nugget of the impression you did of yourself retching out of bed was very. I believe it's Sam the Eagle, the eagle from.
Oh wow! I can't even remember what I did now. Can you
went like,
yeah, business. You will love business. It is the American way.
It felt like you were going to say business when you woke up, which I can imagine when you get out of bed, you seem like the sort of person who would get out of bed and immediately say the word business.
Business. Well, it's all business the second I'm in the world. It's sleep time. That's for rest. Once I'm awake, through to when my head hits the pillow, it's business. It's business time.
Oh, that sounds quite aggressive.
It is.
But are you good at getting out of bed?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I think that I'm quite good at resigning myself to I really don't want to get out of this bed. It's nice and warm in here. Out there, it's cold and there's responsibilities. There's people that want things from me. You know, I don't want to see them. I don't want to talk to these people. But I'm quite good at resigning myself. Like, no, you should really, because, you know, and there's, you know, morning amnesia, that thing where you just sort of wake up and go, what day is it? Who am I? What do I have to do today? And it's especially if you've had like a really vivid dream, especially if it's quite a believable vivid dream where you've sort of, well, I guess I do have to work on this oil rig now. And then you wake up and go, where's the oil rig? When's the boat going to the oil rig? I need to get there. And you go, no, hang on, wait, let's just reset. You need that minute of resetting. But no, I'm good. I'm good at, again, as long as I've not burnt the candle at both ends, then I'm perfectly good at just hopping straight out of bed. My wife has said before, I can't believe the way you can not snooze an alarm. Like, you know, she'll be crawling out from under the covers still, and I'll be like, hey, out of bed and off to go about my day. And then it's time for business.
I've been really good. I've got an alarm outside of my bedroom, and I've had a really good system. I mean, we're on the 16th now, all year, and also just before Christmas, of getting out of bed when it's that time.
Oh, good.
Yesterday, my girlfriend was away, and I was the one in charge of the dog, and my dog basically just crawled back into bed, and I was like, well, I could have a little dog cuddle in bed before I start my day.
No,
and that was fine, and that was quite nice. And then today, I got back into bed, and I spent 2 minutes being like, great. And then I spent like 40 minutes going, this wasn't worth it.
What if I could have a dog cuddle without the dog and just cuddle myself for 2-3 hours, maybe? Then the business would never have to begin.
No.
Because I crave that, David. I crave the day the business can end, but it can't.
I mean, if you can capture yourself cuddling yourself, I believe there's some kind of OnlyFans model in there somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. If you could whisper to yourself at the same time. Yeah. Because then you can list yourself as like an ASMR channel and say, well, it's about sensory perception and wellness, but everyone's just whacking off.
Yeah. I like the fact that
you, David Hoare, you're calling yourself a good little boy, and they're all just like whacking it like crazy.
Good little boy, actually no. But like, I like the idea that you're like, for me, if you're doing it whilst whispering to yourself, and then if you kind of take into account that some people can feel the complete opposite about something, that there's somebody out there who would like the cuddle with themselves, but their kink is the yelling version.
They hear the hissing. Yeah. What a nice boy! Yeah, that's what they need to really get going.
Do you have an alarm system?
My alarm system is a phone with an alarm set on it.
Okay.
That's it.
Good.
Simple as that.
And just one alarm. And
it's one alarm, but what I have, you know, I will confess that because, you know, we're still only just kind of into the back to work. The business has only just recommenced for the year, is what I'm saying. Because the business is very important. I think it's important that we address the business. And the business shuts down, obviously, shortly before Christmas. And then it's quite, I think, interpretable when it kicks off again in the new year, isn't it? Like some people, it's the 3rd of January. I'm back to business. The business has recommenced. But for me, I try to hold the business off for a good couple of weeks and actually still have a bit of rest. But inevitably, the business creeps back in over time. So actually, it's the period of laziness, the non-business times, has spread out a bit more than normal this year. Okay. And so snoozing has happened more often than normal. But I think I can feel myself gradually winding back up to business mode. So soon it'll be, 8 in the morning, poff, business begins.
It's good. Are you going for a true record of how many times you can say business this episode? Because I'm here for it.
Well, it's more a necessity, because when the business begins, you can't really put the business back in its business box unless the business has been completed. But as I say, it never will be. The business will never stop.
I was going to say the phrase Pandora's business box, but we're back to something I don't really want to get into.
Pandora's business box. I mean, that is an OnlyFans if we're talking about.
Yeah. Do you eat breakfast?
I never eat breakfast. Well, very rarely.
Why don't morning people eat breakfast?
I don't know. Is this the common thread you've discovered then?
This is the thing about this podcast. If I've discovered anything, it blows my tiny mind. And every time I tell a night owl that morning people don't eat breakfast, they sort of like, their face goes concave and they sort of fold in on themselves, being like, well, what are they even doing?
Yeah. Well, I, of course, have a nutritional paste that I have fed into my arm throughout the night, but that's,
oh, yes.
So I can accomplish the business with more efficiency. No, that's not true. No, I don't. I'll tell you the truth. I'm not really very hungry normally when I wake up in the morning. Well, it's one of two things. I either am not hungry at all, or within an hour or two of waking up, I'll have this like wretched pain in my stomach, like it's turning into a walnut, like this sort of brittle, hard thing. And then I have to eat, a piece of toast or a biscuit or something, just to kind of pacify my body and say, no, it's fine. It's fine, body. It's business time. You can't be slowing down
it's
now.
business time, body.
Yeah.
But you might have toast or a biscuit, and that's it.
Yeah, no, that's really it. Well, so the exception is if I'm staying in a hotel with a sort of breakfast buffet, when I'll go from being someone who doesn't really eat breakfast, someone who eats as much breakfast as is possible for a person to eat, and then one more sausage, yes please, another hunk of salami, absolutely,
Salami.
3 more slices of Leerdammer, yeah.
What kind of hotels are you staying in?
Very nice ones, business hotels.
Business hotels for business people.
That's right.
With business breakfast.
That's
nice.
Business breakfast. It's all salami and Leerdammer. They wrap the Leerdammer slices around the salami and then they just feed it in one piece down your throat. So you can get to the business faster with all that quick energy.
Is that what your preferred breakfast would be if it was?
No, I don't think so. It sounds a bit much, really. So my wife and I talk about this a bit because neither of us is breakfast people.
Wow.
And we don't really tend to have it. And we talked about how, there are plenty of nations in the world that will happily eat some fish. I mean, we used to be. Britain, the stereotype breakfast for a British person was a kipper.
Oh, if I went to my grandmother's house before she went to bed, which would obviously be like about 5 p.m., but like she would be like...
Because at that stage the business is finished, you can let the business go.
No, but it would be like, to me, astronomically early compared to like everybody else. But she would go around in her nightie to each individual in the house and be like, "Are you having a kipper? Are you having a kipper? Are you having a kipper?" And she would just have that many kippers available.
Wow.
And I don't know what this kind of kipper base,
Kippermania.
like she clearly had just like an entire, should we say, school of kippers in
kippers swimming around,
frozen in her like trough freezer.
Yeah, the chest freezer. Oh, don't you want a chest freezer? I quite want one.
Well, she had like a utility room with that on, and then I think rather than the fridge, all of the kids' drawings went on there. So
right, okay.
When I was kind of younger, it would be great to get a drawing on there, and then I became a teenager, and it became kind of embarrassing. And then my cousins started having kids, and their drawings replaced our drawings, and I was suddenly furious.
Yeah, livid. I want them back up there. I like the idea that when you become a teenager, it becomes more like, well, to get a drawing up there, it has to look like a 5-year-old did it. So you have to be bad enough at drawing to get a drawing up on the fridge of the chest freezer.
I love that. There was a teacher at my school who had a drawing that his son had done when he was younger, and he was like, "Oh, my son did that." And if he'd said that's a plane, you'd be like, "What? Yeah, nearly a plane." But he said, "No, that's daddy." And just really angular.
What was his name?
No, let's not dox or get into that. And I'll
let's say Mr. Henderson. Mr. Henderson, your son's really bad at drawing.
Still to this day.
He's only 4. I know, but even for a 4-year-old, that is remedial. I'm sorry, Mr. Henderson. That's poor. There's nothing. There's nothing there. But you better have discouraged his artistic pursuits because it's going nowhere.
Yeah, and it's
what a rubbish child. What a rubbish child. I'm sorry.
What a rubbish child.
What a rubbish child you have. Is there something wrong with your semen?
I wonder if that's the first time that's been said today on a podcast ever, or but there we go. To me, well, not to me. That was an anecdote. You're not saying that to me.
You're saying that there's a reference to semen that hasn't already been made in a podcast. That's impossible. Every possible combination.
Specifically the phrase "there's something wrong with your semen."
Is there something wrong with your semen? Yeah, maybe. Well, if you know, listeners, write in, please.
Great.
The address is semen@wakingupwithahore.podcast.david.com. .bestfriend.
My brain's saying a school of semen, and I don't like it. And then I'm imagining
a school of semen. Smoked semen. It's the new.
There we go. This is a horrible segue. What do you drink in the morning? Smoked or unsmoked?
I've got some breakfast semen. You can get it from Waitrose.
I was going to say, I don't want to imagine my grandmother going, "You having semen in the morning? You having
semen in the morning? Semen in the morning? Semen in the morning?" Very thoughtful of your grandmother. Your poor grandfather, though. Oh, that's 7 Siemens, Timothy. All right.
There was I was driving to my gig once, and on the news, like "and finally" moment was basically about like snow leopard in Scotland that had died, but it was
Yeah.
basically the news story was like, we've managed to get enough DNA from it that we can keep the snow leopard going for generations. And they made it just sound like a really nice story. And I'm like, has that snow leopard just been like tugged off to oblivion?
It's not the only way to get DNA. You know, when in the police
like,
shows, when they say we found DNA at the scene, they don't just mean
but they don't not also like
they sometimes do, but not always. Crucially, it's important.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you answered my question that I had
And
whilst I was driving along.
They dug up Richard III under that car park and said, "We've done DNA testing. It is him." They didn't mean they found a big pool of semen next to the body.
They're not testing the snow leopard. They've produced. They said they can continue bloodlines.
Yeah, true. I suppose that. Well. I mean, but is it like cloning? Because I think cloning is, that's asexual reproduction, isn't it? Or have I misunderstood? Did someone wank off Dolly the sheep's dad? Is that how they made Dolly the sheep? I was too young to know at the time.
In 1997 or whatever it was.
7. Something like that.
Yeah. What do you drink in the morning?
Well, I drink in the morning. Dolly the sheep's dad semen. Fetched for me kindly by your grandma, which is lovely. No, I love always a black coffee. Decaffeinated.
We ended up here.
Non-decaffeinated. No semen, thank you. Black coffee, first thing in the morning.
As in caffeinated.
Non-decaffeinated, fully caffeinated.
Fully caffeinated.
Uncaffeinated coffee is what I like to drink in the morning, with no milk, or man milk, or cow milk.
You sort of sound like you've said the word semen too many times, and you've sort of like started like crashing. You're just like non-denominational,
non-decaffeinated semen. The thing is, it's about around about the mid-afternoon, semen takes over from business. You see,
right?
So that's when it becomes semen time.
Great. So you just have coffee in the morning. You don't have
coffee,
water?
yeah, no, nothing else. I'm a solid black coffee person. No milk, no sugar. My wife has a cup of tea. Again, fully caffeinated tea, milk, no sugar. And that is.
Do you have that
morning.
Together?
We don't tend to. Well, so my wife will often read in the morning and have a tea.
Whereas you famously can't read, so that's like.
Well, I can't read. No, well, I can, but I've chosen to forget how, because I hate I hate literacy and books, and everyone who can read and does, especially my wife. No, but so she'll stay. She'll sit up in bed and do some reading. I'll either be through the next room working, or possibly, if there's time, which there hardly ever is, playing a computer game. Or in fact reading myself, but we won't tend to sort of sit around the breakfast table or anything like that. That's
fair enough. It's just I find it interesting because obviously, like, I get up and I have breakfast, and then I'm kind of like, I know where I'm at for that, and I can kind of other stuff.
Yes, there's a structure
whilst I'm having breakfast. But if you're not doing that, then is it just making a coffee and then on to other things?
Well, it's up at 6 a.m. It's an hour of calisthenics and then golf for 7 minutes, and then it's coffee.
Oh, you're doing the 7-minute golf exercise.
I'm doing Matt Damon's 7-minute golf structure. No, it's. I know it's interesting you say that, because there is a structure to that. Something that my wife and I discovered during lockdown was just having more of a self-imposed structure to our day, and that does not go as far as having breakfast, semen kippers in the morning.
Sure.
It does involve having a proper lunch break, where it is time for a break from work, because we're both like freelance, we work from home. So it's a matter of deciding to have an evening or deciding to have a weekend. And we were much more sort of fluid about that kind of thing before lockdown, but because everybody was just in the same situation all the time, every day, sat in the house, you could easily work 24 hours a day. If you had stuff to do, you could just keep doing it. But then we sort of had a pact where we went, no, we're going to take a proper bit of time off at lunchtime. We're going to stop work at, a reasonable hour, 6, 7 o'clock, not 8, 9, 10. And we're going to have a proper dinner, eat together. And we're also going to try and avoid working at the weekend wherever we can. But obviously there's those days in reserve in case of sudden giant emergency. If the business has got out of hand and there's too much business to do during the week, and the semen requires extra attention, then the weekends are always there. But we try and avoid it just because if you haven't got the imposed structure of a job or anything, then it's very easy just to sort of let the week be shapeless, and we can't have that because that's chaos, that's carnage, David.
This year, one of the things that I wouldn't necessarily call a resolution, but just a thing that I've started implementing is Wednesdays off, because I work. Because obviously I work Friday, Saturday a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I also work evenings a lot of the time. And I have my gig on a Tuesday that I run all the time. But so Wednesday, Thursday, I would often go like, oh, one of these 2 days should probably be my day off. And then I'd start trying to like work on one of them. And I'd be trying to get stuff done and I would just feel exhausted. And then I'd kind of maybe do a bit of journaling or like work, just like list what I needed to do and then also what I had been doing. And I'm like, oh, today would be a good day off, but it'd be like 2 p.m. by that point. So I was just like, let's just eradicate, because I've just been dragging myself. Like, why can't I bring myself to do anything today? It's like, because today should be your day off.
Well, you're knackered, yeah, because you've been working really hard. Yeah, that's why.
And then as soon as I started doing that, when I wake up in the morning, I'm still like, right, I need to do all the things. And then I kind of come to the realization that, oh, no, wait, I could have some downtime. And then I do. And I always feel like I'm not going to get enough out of it. And then by all of a sudden, the person that's going to bed, I've been going to bed at least at 2, maybe later for like ever. I'm suddenly at like 10:30 going, oh, I've got ages before I need to go to bed. Like, and then I wake up the next day and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I did it. But as you say, like without having that in place, it's so easy when you're freelance just to be like, I could just do this for forever.
Well, I'd like to write a script, a movie script. So what I could do is start thinking about it and maybe aim to write a page next week. Or I could, take that real grind hustle attitude and go, if you ain't writing the script, you're shit. And sit down at the computer right now, shout at my wife and friends, leave me alone, daddy's working, all that kind of thing. Daddy's doing business in here. What do you mean by that? Shut up, go away, that kind of thing. And you could just be like smashing out really, really, really bad pages of screenplay, but at least you've made your page count for that day. It's that kind of thing. So similarly, I think you can give yourself a horrible time for not getting as much done in a day as you'd have liked to, but at the same time, you can't quite cheat your own circadian rhythms and your own brain patterns that much, really. This is like when I've taught writing and stuff in the past, it's kind of like, it's very easy to go, oh, I haven't done any work today, I'm so rubbish, I'm not being a writer, I'm not writing. But then again, so often, so many of the important decisions about what you're going to write happen without you knowing in the back of your brain. When you're just walking around or doing your laundry or whatever, and that is valid time. It's why it was I won't say who it was, but one company asked me to sort of journal, like chronicle how many hours a job had taken me. It was a scripting job that involved a little bit of research and into sort of the context of the thing that was being written, and a bit of outlining and a few meetings with the head writer, and then the drafting time. And I refused because it was like, okay, well, firstly, you're doing this to try and work out if you're paying people enough or too much. And I draft actually pretty quickly compared to a lot of people. So if I say, oh, it only took me this long, X many hours, then other people will be going, that's insane. It would take me twice as long. So now suddenly I'm saying, well, you should only be paying them for half of that time. Yeah. But you shouldn't. You should be paying them for as long as it takes, because that's how creativity works. Yeah. So there's that. But then also you go, so I've accounted for actively reading a book or opening a website and reading through this information about this subject, and I've accounted for the time I spent writing an outline for the story, and I've accounted for all the hours I spent staring at final draft writing the bloody thing. But like, you can't account for wandering around thinking about this thing, having a conversation with somebody else where you chat out loud about a problem you've encountered with the script, and then in talking to them you solve it. Like, that isn't working time, but it is time that work is happening. So are you
charging them for when you're in the shower going, I could do it like that?
All business time is billable, David. So yeah, anything involving business or semen is billable, and I don't think you should ask people to account for that. But anyway, so yeah, sorry. In terms of the hustle grind side of it, right? Yeah, is you can take a sort of nonsense self-improvement attitude of like, it's got to be done. You got to put the hours in today. Or you could just accept sometimes that you're just not going to do something measurable that day. No. Even if you have like been building up thoughts or ideas or made a couple of notes, like you ain't going to get 10 pages drafted today, so you might as well go easy on yourself. And I think that's as valuable as really pushing yourself to squeeze out 1 page of writing in a day.
For sure. I do think one of the things about like there's a kind of theory of hierarchy within the freelance arts world where it's like you kind of like put yourself but where other people might see you, and people will be like, oh, you're doing well, and I've started going, well, I'm glad it seems like that, because sometimes you're like it's like sometimes my friend Louise said that it's either comedy, you're either doing really great or you're grinding, there's no just doing fine. And also you can be like, oh, I just don't feel like I've done enough. And actually one of the things that I had to like talk about in bloody therapy was like, I managed to do a bunch of things that I wanted to do and I did them well. But when I was going through them, I'd planned to do so much more work, but I managed to get them done with doing it. It's like, maybe if I don't try and make it so I'm this like absolute perfectionist, like maverick, like genius, or aim for that, if I just lower my standards for what the barrier of entry is and I can still get it done, then I'll probably be less mentally exhausted, physically exhausted, and just nicer to myself.
Also, if you set yourself impossible targets, then you're just never going to hit them. And therefore, but if you set, but also if you set really, really low, pitiful targets, then you'll always meet them and you'll get really lazy. So there's no clear answer really, but
there's no clear answer. But it's getting measurable results and going, oh, that actually did work, rather than it's like I have to remove some of the romanticization from the creativity. Yeah.
The demon grind. Let's grind out that demon. Don't stop. Never stop.
So
keep grinding it.
You're waking up, you're having coffee, and then what was the other part of your morning routine? Just business. Is there any other parts of your morning routine?
What is a nailed on part of my morning routine? That's it really. Get the tea and coffee made, get up, and then the day begins. I do leave it sinfully late in the morning to brush my teeth sometimes, because that will usually accompany the washing of the face and the getting in the shower, which doesn't always happen straight away.
Sure.
That's obviously if I have to get up and get out and go somewhere, then it definitely will. But that's it. So the rest of it's all quite malleable, depending on what have I got to do that day, and have I got time to do some actual exercise, like move my body around. Is there time for that, or do I have to keep grinding out the semen business and just making sure that the career keeps moving forward?
What's your preferred exercise?
Oh well, we've got an exercise bike. And also a rowing machine, little fold-up ones you can put away. So we've got a real nice little kitted out home gym. Also, I just really like stuff like yoga. Yoga's good, isn't it?
Nice. Yoga is good.
It's quite sort of taxing exercise, but it feels like you're doing nothing.
Yeah. It's I do find it funny that I went to a Pilates and I'm like, oh, this is basically yoga without the mumbo jumbo, I guess.
Oh, but, yeah. Well, leave all that out. Yeah, it's aligning your chakras away, all nonsense. Yeah, no, never mind that.
But also,
it is tending your muscles.
Yeah, but I also do really like the kind of atmosphere of yoga. I do kind of like some of it. I don't necessarily go in for all of it, but like, I think it's sort of in the same way that I don't particularly believe like the religion I was brought up in, but I love the way that I get treated by the little old ladies at my mum's church who see me and they're like, "Do you want a biscuit and a cup of tea? And it's lovely to see you. And how's it all going?"
So you like having sort of vaguely Eastern ideas parroted at you by a guy in some very tight leggings,
like
as he says, "You're doing really well, David." And so the sort of vibe of that is nice, even though you think he's absolutely full of shit.
I like the sort of soft sounds, and I like the kind of, because I think with Pilates it's just kind of a bit like we're just going to do this now, whereas with yoga it feels a little bit more like let's kind of bring ourselves into it. And I do like meditation and clearing my brain, and my girlfriend's the complete opposite, so any of the kind of breathing stuff, she's just kind of there like, and she always has her eyes open, so if I open my eyes during it, she'll suddenly be like Kee! And it just completely takes me out of if we've got the same class together. It's
not a great conduit for meditation. I think that has tangible benefits though, doesn't it? Meditation. Yes. You can get good out of that. That doesn't have to be tied up to any sort of spiritualist nonsense.
No, for sure. It's just breathing. And clearing your brain.
Breathing and trying hard not to think too much about anything. It's good. It's good for you. Breathing's essential.
There you go. If you've learned nothing else today,
you've got to do it.
Tom Crowley, it's standing on a platform of breathing.
Kids,
And breathing.
Some cool kids in your class, right? They might be standing around saying, "I don't even breathe anymore," you know. But that's just all nonsense. What they've done is they've listened to the Steam and Grind TikTok accounts that you get these days, and those guys are saying like, "I don't drink water, I only eat raw meat, and I haven't even breathed since 2006, and that's why I run a multi-billion-dollar business."
That's
And
exactly
ask
why.
yourself, how are they saying that to you if they haven't breathed in to say it?
Mm.
I think a hole's already starting to appear in that, and so I think just listen to your mum and dad and your local church leader, and keep breathing.
WUWAH. I'm going to be at the Leicester Comedy Festival on Friday the 20th of February and Saturday the 21st of February at Peter Pizzeria. The Friday show is at 6 p.m. The Saturday show is at 7:30 p.m. Tickets via the Leicester Comedy Festival website. It's a work in progress show for my new show, How to Live to 100. Come along. It's going to be great. Well, thank you so much for telling me about your morning routine. I also like to ask people about their expertise. And apparently your expertise, I have forbidden myself from saying your expertise is either beef or betrayal.
Yeah.
Because Tom and I have previous.
You'll find out just how expert I am at that.
Yeah. Tom and I via Smirsh Pod have had some disagreements, which have clearly now been resolved.
They've been resolved.
But apparently you're an expert in retro games.
Well, now, so this is a technical difference here. So when you ask, what are you an expert in? For one thing, I have to say straight away, if anyone listening would count themselves an expert in this subject, they're prepared to be angry because compared to you, I'll know absolutely nothing. What I actually am not expert in, but it's kind of become a hobby of mine, is retro gaming handhelds. I've got my latest prized possession here to show off to the webcam there. Here we are. And what this is essentially is an Android device, like any phone, with some controls stuck on it. Where's the camera? There you go. And it's just running a bunch of game emulators. But essentially, that's what it is. It's an Android machine. It can play a bunch of games using emulated software from the past. So the kinds of, not even like cool kid games that the modern business doers and Seaman experts today might do, like Fortnite or something like that, Call of Duty Warzone or Seaman Simulator 2026. No, this is, we're talking Sonic 2, we're talking Super Mario Sunshine on the GameCube, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time on the N64. Like that's what you're talking about. And these are, it all started because, again, during lockdown, you realize how formative those times were later, don't you? I remember, because obviously we also had a lot of time to fill, all of us. And I've loved video games, computer games, ever since I was young. And they've been quite a persistent presence in my life. But obviously, the older you get, even if you're like me and you haven't got children or a day job, even so, it's incredibly hard. Well, providing you have like a work ethic, as I hope that I do, a business ethic, I like to call it. Then it's hard to find the time because you have to justify essentially wasting in a very self-indulgent, lonely way some hours of your day. And I think it's good for you. I think games are great. I think that they're a wonderful way to actually relax. They're quite meditative. Speaking of meditation, again, this is me talking about the way that I play games, which is all very much just single player, play through the story. I wouldn't do anything competitive or or aggressive. Generally.
No, but like, there's a difference between like watching, when you want to put on a film that you actually really want to watch because you've not seen it before and you want to engage with it, rather than putting on the same film you've seen a million times. And you can very easily berate yourself about, I've just done that. But it's like, what do you want to play? I've been playing through Final Fantasy IX recently.
Yes.
Thinking like, how have I been able to put this many hours into this, whereas I can't bring myself to complete a game that's probably like, I've put in like nearly 30 hours of it since Christmas, but that's because I've just been sat playing it just before I go to bed.
Yeah, lovely.
Like here and there, and I've got it on my Steam Deck so I can pick it up and carry it around. But I also have played it through several times. I kind of know the plot, and I can kind of play it a bit mindlessly. And it's kind of the point is to like bring my brain down a bit. Whereas there are other games, as you say, where it's either competitive or it's very like action based, where you're like really invested and you can only really play it.
Oh god! Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Oh no! Oh fuck!
Like that, and then you play video games.
Seaman gets ground out, and then you play the games.
But yeah, when do you consider? What do you consider like the retro cutoff? at this stage?
This is a very I've learned through various writers and YouTube people that this is quite a contentious question.
Sure.
And there's a
Well,
guy.
I mean you. I specifically mean you. What do
Me?
you?
Well, I haven't made a hard and fast judgment on it. I sort of feel like anything. I guess let's say anything that's out of print, because, right?
Right.
Because if you talk about, there's also a lot of conversations about rights and IP and things, and more
Sure.
and more people are making older games accessible again. So if you are stealing games, downloading emulated games off the internet without paying for them, sometimes you can say, well, that's fine because there's no other way to play them without getting secondhand ancient hardware. Like, I'm not going to get an Amstrad 486 so that I can play, the side-scrolling Duke Nukem.
Sure.
I'm probably going to emulate that thing, and I'm probably going to download it for free, rather than looking for a vintage floppy disk drive and a 3.4-inch floppy. Of the shareware demo of that game. No, I'm probably going to just download the files and play them straight away, like anyone can. And I think
Or you
that's
purchased it, you kind of own it somewhere in a cupboard, but to set it all up, you don't even have all of the.
The cables have all they've been eaten by mice.
Yeah,
precisely. It's all rusted and worn through. Yeah, and all of your 3.4-inch floppy has bitten the dust long ago, as comes to us all. And so I think that anything that's out of print. So if you wanted to get yourself, in fact, just recently, didn't they? I think they might have just recently discontinued support for the Wii U.
Right.
Is that true? I mean, they stopped making them long ago, but I think they said we officially don't support that anymore. So if yours gets broken, or if you want a replacement part for it, or if you you want to buy a new game for it, too bad. We're not going to cater to you. You have to sort that out yourself on the second-hand market, or the enthusiasts, getting spare parts, finding the little tiny 3-pin thing that connects the screen to the hard drive or whatever, whatever it might be. You got to sort that out yourself. Don't come to us. We're Nintendo. Get fucked. But then
I will say that's a lot longer than Apple would ever do anything.
Oh, exactly. I mean, that's about 2 years later. Yeah, I've got a phone which is almost certainly how long. I've had this phone about 4 years. It's probably now totally obsolete. And if I said something's gone wrong, they just smack me in the face. They'd get a maximum size iPad with the sharp corners, the new type with the sort of the squared off edges. Yeah. Smack me in the face with it.
Nice. That's
and
good.
say, buy this.
Yeah. Oh, that's their selling. That's their advertising. Okay.
Apple Genius. Buy this, bitch. That's what.
Buy this, bitch. Oh, is Freddy Krueger working there?
Bitch. Yeah. Well, that's they took a lot of their ethos from Freddy Krueger. Yeah. That's why they all wear those jumpers and hats.
Amazing.
They've got blade hands, but instead of blade, they've got a really small screwdriver for opening up the back of a MacBook Pro.
Oh, that's good.
A USB stick, so just for storing your music and stuff. And what else would they have? A USB-C for charging themselves.
Yeah, one of those one-button mouses.
Yeah. And then the pinky is a one-button mouse. That's right. And then you move that around on the desk.
Yeah.
And then they look up a website that's called buythisbitch.com, and that's where they turn the computer around to you and say, "Get going, buy that bitch." But yeah, so let's say you got the Wii U. That's now retro, I guess, because it's now it's not something that's actively in the current field of play. Yeah. You couldn't just get yourself a new Wii U easily. So let's say that's retro.
What are your favorite retro games to play?
Oh, do you mean of all time, or do you mean to just pop on whenever? Any of the early Mario games, I think is pretty clear, right? If you pop on Super Mario Land on the Game Boy, or Super Mario Brothers 1 or 3, 2 is good too, but it's just a very different game, as I'm sure everyone listening to this who's ever played a game knows. Yeah, so there's 2. Chrono Trigger, probably one of the best games of all time. You've been playing Final Fantasy IX, a very similar prospect, except that it's 3D, pseudo 3D, and Chrono Trigger is 2D pixel art. Oh, other retro. Rayman 2. Do you remember Rayman 2, The Great Escape? It was beautiful. Yeah. Dreamcast, probably the best version. That's the version I played through on a retro handheld device. And by the way, to anyone listening from the lore, obviously anytime I mention a game that I've played on one of these retro devices, these emulation devices, that's something I own a hard copy of, definitely, legally.
It's all allegedly, I believe.
Yeah, that's right, allegedly.
Allegedly, that's great. And so, but then what have you been playing recently?
Recently, so at the minute I'm playing the and obviously that's the case for everything I talk about. But I do own a copy of Ocarina of Time, the Zelda game. Right. You've already had a Zelda expert, so I don't want to step on his toes.
No, that's fine.
I'm playing the 3DS version of that, which I think is meant to be a bit better. But I'm playing it emulated because I've got this thing. It's called the AYN Thor. It's the hot new fad for all losers like me that care about this sort of thing.
Wow.
It's a double screen handheld, so you can play DS and 3DS games on it, so you can have the two screen effect natively. But the really lovely thing about it is you've got a 1080p screen on the top, so you can up-res and crispify all your old games so they look nice and crispy. You can play Resident Evil 2, right? And the sort of the semi-human meat puppets that populate that game are so sharp.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so sharp. So you
That's
can see
amazing.
in full detail how they don't quite look like people.
I had a great time playing Resident Evil 2, and then I went to go watch the Game Grumps play it recently, and as soon as it came on, I was like, ooh.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, now my wife is on your side. My wife is, she stopped playing games in the kind of, like the Master System Mega Drive sort of era. We're talking Sonic 2.
Sure.
And so she skipped completely the PlayStation 1 N64 age of games. So whenever I'm playing an older game, like, in fact, Resident Evil 2 is one of them, Metal Gear Solid, the original Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation 1, another best of all time game, she'll see the characters, which will normally be a character model with about 3 polygons. So the face will be like 2 flat planes, usually, with a peak in the middle. And then there'll be a beautifully designed, very, very low resolution pixel art sort of texture map designed to suggest not only a person, but the entire spectrum of human emotion. And they'll do that with basically just sort of like completely flat mouth and unmoving eyebrows and that kind of thing. The old days, you had to use your imagination. And
you did, didn't you?
She finds it utterly gross, completely gross. She hates it. But I find that very pleasing, that whole aesthetic.
I was just thinking there as you're saying that, like, and I don't like to dwell on AI too much, but I feel like the leap from like search engines to AI search or whatever is a bit like the leap from 2D to 3D in the mid-90s, where the search had gotten so accurate and so good, and now we've got AI, which is actually like a complete backstep, but takes up a lot more power. But when you first see it, you're like, whoa! Ooh. And then like when you go back and look at those, like, you know, Donkey Kong Country excluded, which I think is a bit weird, but like those amazing pixel graphics on like the Super Nintendo and stuff, and it's like they just got so good at making those games and making them look fun and imaginative and great. And then all of a sudden it's like a leap to like the N64, the PlayStation, maybe the Atari Jaguar, but because it was 3D, we were like, oh my god, this looks so realistic. And you go back and look at it now, and it's like Mr. Hanky's wandering through, like, trying to kill zombies. It's so weird. That's right.
But I love it because also there is a case to be made, I think, for how, well, it's also the style of how the games are made, right? Because these days, a lot gets made of, I think, how, do you want to play this great new game? It's brilliant, you fight dragons. Here's how it works. It's a lot like a Netflix show. If you have a Netflix show, it's about fighting dragons. End of episode 1, the character gets out of bed. He's David Hoare. He finds it hard to get out of bed. The episode starts. His alarm goes off. It's a cockerel, I guess, if it's dragon times. And then he sort of rolls over in bed and he thinks, ponderously to himself about his problems. End of episode 1. Not a dragon in sight. He just about crawls out of bed. End of episode 6 of 9. You probably maybe see a scale. Like, go past the window. And you're like, oh, dragon time's coming. So it's like games like that today, where it's like you fight dragons in this game. You go, wow, great. So then you start with 3 hours in a character creator, where you decide what your character is going to look like, and then you just make a version of yourself, probably, in the end, having played with the options. Then there's about a 2-hour semi-interactive cutscene that opens the game to set up the really, really important, very badly written lore of this world. And then eventually you see a dragon go past in the distance. You're handed a stick and told, like, beat up all those rats so that you can build up some skill points, so then you can put them into aptitude and strength and all the rest of it. And then about 10 hours in, you might fight a dragon. Whereas if you have it's like Surf Dracula. You know the Surf Dracula principle?
Yes.
The tweet of if people listening don't know, someone once tweeted, and I love it. I think about it a lot. If there was a show in the 80s called Surf Dracula, you'd see that guy surfing every single episode. But these days, like, you'd probably get his surfboard at the end of series 1. And I think there's a similar principle here where, in an older game, there's probably about a 20-second bit of process of pressing new game and then watching the opening title crawl about, what this world is and who the characters are. You're slicing up dragons within about, a minute. And there's something nice about that, the cleanness of it.
For sure. And I think, like, that now with like a lot of AAA, very corporate games in the modern age, like you get the fact that they're trying to justify their price points. They're trying to make it bigger and bigger and bigger, which means they're like diluting it all so much. Versus like they had to make, and they had to kind of make stuff compact. But I will say, like with the like NES versus the SNES, the NES games, they just basically were very repetitive because they had a small amount of space, but they were trying to make it worth it. And I think there is a sweet point. I should also say that I do really like the Nintendo 64 and PlayStation era. It's just like when you first saw it, you were
it's a different world.
Whereas when you look at it now, it's a lot more ugly. But I think they're a lot more charming. And if I'm like, I want to kind of play a game this weekend, in thinking that a 4 to 8 hour game that I can sit and maybe complete over a couple of evenings, where you kind of get in, get out, and then on to the next thing, versus those big, like massive new games.
Yeah.
And there's obviously some amazing new games, but it's like there is a lot of stuff you have to wade through where, as you say,
it's a different experience.
Getting to it is just so much more difficult.
Well, and I also should say, like, I've also loved a bunch of, recent absolutely basic bitch AAA games that everyone's been playing, like Red Dead Redemption 2 and Cyberpunk 2077. These are the most like over-involved, like drawn-out experiences. It's like 100 hours, or you're not playing it properly. Yeah, and I love them too. But you need to basically be, the wife's away on business. She's got business too, David. Don't forget. And she's off grinding semen elsewhere in some other town. And you've got an evening off, so you just sit and really dedicate some attention. But often you just want to kind of pass the time. You feel like, I don't want to get straight to work this morning. That's when Ocarina of Time on the old AYM Thor comes out, and I'm
very nice.
I'm smacking a very polygonal tree man in the face, and he goes oh, and he drops a rupee, and I get to pick that up, and I think that's nice.
That is nice. Because, like, as you say, with like the instantaneousness of it, is like if you compare the early Zelda games, where it's like you kind of are running and they go, "It's dangerous out there. Take this," and then you take a sword, and then you run outside and you just hit things with it, and you might die a lot because it's quite a difficult game. Versus, I really like Breath of the Wild because I really like the fact that the plot was get stronger. And I didn't connect with Tears of the Kingdom as much because they tried to input a lot more plot. And there was a full hour where I'd played a previous game where I got the glider. I was going to go get the glider, but there was an hour-long plot thing to set up the greater plot, and I had to justify getting the glider. And rather than being intrigued, I spent an hour going, just give me the fucking glider!
That's fair. No, I love both of them.
Play the game. I don't want to watch the game, and I am a bit of a... True. I can be a cutscene skipping person when I get annoyed.
This is part of my problem is if they're going to put this story up for me, I'm going to watch it. I'll bloody well watch it, Mr. Kojima. Oh yeah, 90 minutes before I get to move the controller again, no problem. Serve it up for me, baby.
Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I own 5, and I have got nowhere near the gall to press it yet to press go because I just don't know.
I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you something right now. I loved Metal Gear Solid 5.
Apparently, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I just don't have the ability to go, I think I'll play a game now.
Play a game now after half an hour of being told the story.
Well, the Metal Gear Solid 4 starts with a full hour and a half long film, I guess, and ends with one.
5 is better. I'll say that. Like 4 is like, you've literally got 90-minute movies in there, which is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
That was allowed to happen. I will say this, though, and this is something that every single game should have. There's no excuse not to have this in the modern day. A pausable cutscene.
Yes.
You should be able to press start and pause that cutscene, and the options to either skip it or keep playing it come up. If you haven't done that, you should not be allowed to commercially release a game.
You're a mug. You're a muppet.
And I'm going to come and do semen business all over your house.
That is, I know I said I don't
I know
want
what I
to
said.
have lots of edit. Okay, fine. Okay. I don't condone what Tom Crowley just said or did.
Some semen-based opinions in the program may be the sole opinion of Mr. Tom Crowley and not of Mr. David Hoare with an H.
This semen is of my own and does not represent the greater semen of...
If you've been affected by any of the semen mentioned in the program today, go to semen.gov.uk/help.
See, when I came up with the title of the show, I thought it would be funny because I would just be talking lightheartedly about mornings, but it's just got like a potentially rude name. And then slowly but surely, I've just had people be like, well, I wake up, I might have a wank, and then I have a shower. And then...
That is the question mark hanging over the show, isn't it? Is like, how many disclosed or undisclosed wanks are involved in the morning process? Which
there you go. I'll have to rewrite my song.
A lot more single. You've got a lot of single guests. It's and you have to add a longer intro so that the word semen doesn't appear until later in the program.
Yeah.
What were we saying? Oh yeah. So Metal Gear Solid 4, too many cutscenes. They're very, very long. I still really enjoyed it as a game, and that was one that I had to emulate because famously it's a game that only runs on PlayStation 3 hardware. I think because of the way that they developed it. I don't understand this stuff really, but somehow they made it almost unportable to a different system. It was
that's
so
kind of the fun of Kojima is that he really goes like, what does the system do? How can I make it? And it's like the PlayStation 1 involved like a boss, which spoilers, if you're playing I forgot his name now. There's one boss where you can't beat it unless you take the controller out of
the
one
portal.
and put it into the second one. And it can that same character is like clairvoyant and can read your memory card.
Yeah.
And
I see you enjoy the game Hentai Wife 6. Beijing Go Fish Challenge, yes.
Yeah. Now put the rumbling controller on your cock.
Waifu Quest 2. Jizz Attack. That's a fine game from Capcom. No, Konami, sorry.
Oh dear. What games consoles did you have as a child?
Well, this is probably part of it. See, I wasn't allowed to have a console for a long time.
Okay, this is where I'm with you.
Yeah. The first console I had was the GameCube. And I don't think that was too early for me to have bought it with my own money from like work. But I think it was a kind of act of clemency from my folks because, you know, I wasn't the best academically, but I was pretty smart enough to coast through kind of. But like there was always that. I think it was a kind of snobbery on my parents, certainly my mum's side. Going, I remember during a summer holiday once going to see my grandparents on the south coast of England, and going to a newsagent with my parents, and there was a Sonic the Comic in the newsagent. It was an early Sonic the Comic, in fact, and which what now looking back I know from having grown up and got more into comics and things like 2000 AD and the history of British publishing and comics and stuff, which is another thing I probably should have said I was an expert in. You then realize, everyone working on this was a hugely important person who was just doing sort of some money work on the side. So you get artists like Mick McMahon, one of the greatest 2000 AD artists of all time. Mark Miller, who created Kick-Ass and Kingsman and all that. That's now like $1 million movies. They were all working on Sonic the Comic at the time.
Nice.
And so anyway, I got this comic out of the rack during summer holiday, and my parents were at the till, and I said, can I have this? And my mum said, no. And my dad said, let him have that, why not? And she said, because it's horrible. And it was decided that while it may be horrible to my mum's eye, I was on holiday, so I should be allowed to have the comic. But that was the kind of the mood. My dad
rules don't apply.
No, exactly. But my dad's always had great techno joy, and my mum's always been more of a technophobe. So, which means she's very, very racist against robots. But no, it doesn't. It means she's suspicious of technology.
I think it's a very first world problem for both of us. But it's like I would go around my friend's house, and they would have games consoles, and I would play them, and I get so excited. We finally got a home computer for homework and dad's work and all that sort of stuff. And one of our neighbors put some games on it, so I did. That's how I ended up playing Sonic the Hedgehog. Was on like the PC version in like 1997. It got taken away to make up more space for stuff. And then, like, I didn't get a games console till the PlayStation 2, and they bought me 2 games, and one of them was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, which I only in the past couple of years went and looked on IGN, and it's like the top-rated game on it. But I just loved it, and I wasn't sure if I was just being like, "But this is the best thing ever." And the other one was Colin McRae Rally, which I didn't like. So I had one game really, and they would never ever.
That is such a kick in the face.
Ever again. They were pretty much like, "Okay, we'll get you this," and then
2 games, and one you'll hate, and one you'll love.
Yeah,
and one game always tells the truth, and the other game always lies. So the whole thing was actually a kind of mental exercise for you. So they were keeping you educational throughout all that, even though they got you a game console.
I guess they were hoping that they would by not then supporting it, but they just meant a lot of borrowing games from other people. But
Yeah.
I've also then just felt, because I didn't experience all these things as they happened, I was always behind. And then I think even in PlayStation, one of the PlayStation magazines somewhere, I was reading, like, I always just buy the previous generation because all the best games have come out. It's more affordable. And yeah, those are the two main reasons. And so I've just kind of gone, well, I've never really been in a job where I'm like, I'm going to buy the latest console. So I get like, sometimes my friends are just like, well, I'm getting rid of this and I can get a tenner, or you can give me a tenner. And it's like, and then I'll get the older console. But it just means that, like, I'm not going, right, I've spent all this money on that, and now I need to get the new game, and it's 70 quid.
Yeah.
And I hope I don't hate it.
Yeah.
Versus,
well, there's another side to that as well, which is that these days, well, so the bad side of that is that I always found it was quite helpful to just wait a few years into a console's life. And it's so recent, like I had an Xbox, what are they all called? They're all called like Xbox One Dave X5, you know, and you go...
It's called the Xbox terrible business decision naming.
Yeah,
is what it's called.
The Xbox Obligation 7 wood. Okay. The wood box. So anyway, one of those Xboxes, the Xbox One, that was one.
Yeah.
I got that one quite late in its life cycle, but then, as you say, that means that it's cheaper to get it, and then all the games are you can get them secondhand cheaply, and all that's great. Similarly, a Switch. I love the Switch. It was a great system, and I got that quite a few years into the Switch being a thing that existed, and it's a bit cheaper, and then the games are all out, etc. But now, especially with AI, again, not talking too much about AI. They basically, all the AI companies have created a giant RAM shortage in the world.
Yeah.
So every game system just gets more and more expensive. It comes out and you go, well, I'll wait for the price to come down. It's not gonna. PlayStation 5 is going to cost like 500 quid in 5 more years still. There'll be no way to...
I am thinking that, so for those that don't know, if you've managed to wade this through far through people talking about video games and just don't know this, you don't know this, but like, they're an online shop for video games called Steam, and they have mad sales, and they have like stuff that should be 40, 50 quid is like a tenner, and stuff that should be 25 quid is like
£2,
£4, and stuff that should be £10 is like 79p. I paid £1.79 for FTL and put like 300 hours into it.
Oh, amazing value. And if something is normally 20 quid and it's now £1.50, the law is you have to buy it.
So everybody has backlogs from that, and Epic Game Store's giving away free games like every day. And I have a sneaking suspicion that because of this RAM shortage, but everybody's still got their old PCs, that people are going to suddenly go, well, I can't afford to play these newer games. I'm going to have to actually start playing through this backlog that I've built up.
That's right. But then also so many games now, and games that are considered to be the best of the year might be made by a 2-person team that just operates out of a suburb of Australia somewhere, you know, and they release their game for £15. Like Silk Song, the sequel to Hollow Knight, which, if people don't know, is the most beautiful, you know, it looks like a 2D animated, you know, conventionally cell animated movie. This little sort of subterranean insect world populated by gorgeously 2D animated creatures, and it's very, very difficult, famously, but it's also just gorgeous to look at. And it's extremely ambitious and a long, massive world to play in. I mean, I'm some of the way through. I've slightly bounced off it now because I've just hit a section where I'm like, I can't spend another day failing at this. But anyway, that said, I've still already got loads and loads of enjoyment out of it. And that's a tiny team that made that. It took them years, and they released it for a really reasonable price. And now I think so many other people are doing the same thing. And the sort of because of online distribution and sales, the world of independent games is enormous now. And it's never going to be on the scale of like the new Mario game or Fortnite or Call of Duty. In fact, I think Fortnite technically now owns the Earth.
Of course it does.
They own planet Earth now. So that's how big that game is. But still, you can make your millions by just releasing a game that gets lucky and catches the public's imagination. And because all the publishing of it all can just be at under your own control. So it's kind of amazing. And I think there'll be more and more of that. I think there'll also be more and more like giant AAA games with ballooning budgets and, you know, loads of
but when they can't be bought because people can't run them.
Yeah, well, that's right. And so then people will turn to the older games, and they'll turn to the independent games.
Yeah.
If someone says like, oh, Cult of the Lamb is as fun as whatever £70 game is on the brand new system you can't afford anyway, they'll probably go, oh, they'll play that then.
Yeah. My final question before I quiz you is: what is the hardest game you've ever completed?
Oh, the hardest game ever completed. Ooh, that might be Hollow Knight. Actually, the first Hollow Knight,
Yeah.
which I finished. I've never got into all those like Dark Souls. I played a bit of the first Dark Souls, but then Silk Song came out, and I went, I'm only going to play one punishingly difficult fantasy game at a time.
Fair.
So I will go back to it. But no, what is that the hardest one? Because there are games. Generally, if things are unpleasantly difficult, I'll tend to not be able to get into them. But I'm going to say the first Hollow Knight is probably the toughest game I've finished. How about you?
So I've got halfway through Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3 and really enjoyed both. And I do intend to go back and try and do it, but it's one of those games that I like put down and then put down for too long. I did, however, complete Bloodborne, which I think if you like action, that's on PlayStation 4, and I think that's very good. I completed Super Meat Boy. By the way,
I never finished it, but I got quite a long way through.
I've never 100%. I don't know how many games I've ever 100%. I just mean get to credits, but like Super Meat Boy, Cuphead.
Yeah, I never played Cuphead. Looks amazing. Another beautiful 2D game, independently
Both
made.
times I've completed Cuphead, I've walked away with wrist injuries.
Yeah.
Genuinely. But I thought it was amazing, and so it's like a give or take, but it's like the repetitive strain injury is like real. Hollow Knight, Silk Song.
Did you finish Silk Song?
Yeah, I've just got to the end of. I haven't done Act 3. Which is an optional extra. I don't know if that's.
So Act 3 isn't part of the main game, is it? Because I've got part of the way to Act 2.
Yes, I think you have. Me and my friends have all had basically what you had. When you said it, I was like, I don't know if I should tell him, but like, I played all the way. I got it. I was there on the day that Steam was crashing when everybody was trying to buy it all at once, and me and my friends were like, "Oh, I got to the card input things, and then it crashed again." And we're just doing that until we got it. And then I played it. Given
that there's infinity copies, it's not like buying tickets to Oasis. You can sell infinity copies of that.
The server is like, and then I got really far, and then I bounced off it. And part of the reason I bounced off it is because I'd heard there was an Act 2, and so whilst I was still in Act 1, and every time I would do a significant do a boss, I would go, and now it's Act 2, and that just didn't happen, to the point that when I got to Act 2, rather than going, oh, that's exciting, I went, fucking what? Finally!
Oh, now everything's harder. Great, thanks.
And then got through Act 2, and I was expecting to have to do Act 3, and then I found out, having put it down, that Act 3 was optional because I got really stuck on this one thing.
Yeah.
And then one day I was kind of a bit bored, and I just was like, I'm just going to go explore a few other things. And I looked up a few stuff which I hadn't done. I was trying to play it quite purely, so I went and looked up a few things just to kind of get the ball rolling again. And what I did was just went and made myself stronger. I found like I could delete one of the enemies from the whole game. If you defeat a certain boss, you can do that. And then I went back and defeated the thing that I had got stuck on, and it turned out that then I had 2 more bosses, and it was the end of the game. And I was actually I was much closer than I thought I was.
I might be as well. I feel like I've done quite a lot of Act 2 now, so I don't know. Well, you can tell me. I think it's not too much of a spoiler to say I am being mullered by the Clockwork Dolls.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm quite near the end, am I? No?
No. Well, there's optional stuff, but it's like the Clockwork Dancers. I mean, you need to have some timing there, Mr. Crowley.
Well, I'm trying, and I always get to almost the end. I can tell that they're almost at the final stage of it, and then it's like one wrong move becomes 2, becomes 3, and then you're dead. You're finished.
You've still got a bit of way to go, but I think that it's enjoyable. But it's like if you get stuck, always go see what else you can go do. And I think what I got annoyed at was I was like, well, I'll just do this bit and then I'll go somewhere else, and then I couldn't get it done, so I put it down. Whereas if you can go elsewhere and explore, you will find things that help make you stronger.
Yeah, you'll get tougher, and then you go and go face the boss
Hoare
again.
gaming tips.
Hoare tips.
Hoare tips. Okay, so not only
David
do I
Hoare,
like
I am playing Streets of Rage 2 on the Mega Drive. How can I beat the Boomerang Man?
The way you beat the Boomerang Man on Streets
of
Rage 2.
The way you beat the Boomerang Man is that press B and up and you will get infinity lives.
Thank you, Hoare tips. And if you're playing Streets of Rage 2,
would Games Master have been as popular if it was called Hoare tips?
Much more popular.
And Patrick Moore was dressed as a sort of dirty slapper from the docks.
Chops Comedy every Tuesday in Bristol. We have an amazing secret headliner and the best local acts every Tuesday at Bar 57 in Bedminster. Previous acts include Mike Wozniak, Fern Brady, Nish Kumar, Harriet Kemsley, Rosie Jones, Jade Adams, Sally Ray B, Ed Gamble, Spencer Jones, Chloe Radcliffe, Tom Rosenthal, Scott Bennett, Finn Taylor, and Helen Bauer. The first 20 tickets are only £4, and the rest are only £7. It's an absolute bargain. Tickets via Head First. Come to Chops Comedy every Tuesday at Bar 57 in Bedminster. Not only do I like to ask people about their expertise, I like to quiz people on their expertise. So now I'm going to ask you some questions. You've got 5 questions. Question number 1, how much RAM was in the N64?
Is that a trick question? Is it like 64 megabytes, is it? No, it can't be because that's loads. How many much RAM was in it? I know, because it was 64-bit, wasn't it? That was the whole idea. So I think...
You nearly fell for my trap.
I did. I'm going to guess it had 500 megabytes of RAM.
4.
400.
No, 4 megabytes of RAM.
4 megabytes of RAM.
Yeah.
We're on like most computers have 8 gigabytes now.
Well, you said 64 was loads, and then I was like, okay, he's going to get it. And then, nope, you didn't.
Was it 64 gigabytes is loads. 64 megabytes is now not enough to open Windows, I think.
No, I know. It's like they went to space in the same, like your calculator has more power than it did to like go to space.
We also had, as we learned from the film First Man, you also had people like doing back of a fag packet maths during moon landing in order to land it. So it was a whole different landscape.
Exactly. Question number 2, why is Lion King on the Sega Mega Drive so difficult?
In order to extend the playtime of the player and therefore feel like it was worth the money they paid for it.
Nearly. It's actually you had to grapple with the emotional trauma of the protagonist's father's death, as well as the player's omniscience of knowing that Simba had been scapegoated by his uncle.
But being powerless to do anything about it until the end of the game. Yeah. No, that's true. All right, I'll accept that.
Also, they accidentally just made the second level like nigh on impossible to figure out, and therefore
much too hard.
Nobody got past the second level.
I saw a clip of a video game streamer from the present day who was playing Lion King on their stream. I don't watch much of that kind of let's play stuff. It doesn't interest me that much. But this clip did the rounds, and it was this lady playing Lion King. She was in her 20s now, and she fell off like a giraffe's head or something. And the last lion head life went away, and it said game over, and she went, what do you mean game over, what? And then the title screen of the game came up, and she looked like like someone pulled a gun on her or something. It was just like, what? Like she couldn't believe it. It was just like, oh, you don't even know.
Yeah, and like that is notoriously like nobody can beat that game. It's so hard. That's like being like, well, I've only watched comedy, so I guess I'll watch a drama. This is called Scum. I'll give that a go.
Yeah, I'm going to watch this. It's called Schindler's List. I'm going to put that on because it's probably going to be a bit funny at least. Come on. I enjoyed Vicar of Dibley. I think I'm going to watch Schindler's List next.
Question number 3, true or false? There's a doctor in Mega Man called Dr. Willy.
Dr. Wily, I think is how he'd like to have it pronounced.
Oh,
is there a question? Or is that just
that's a true or false, I guess. But
the true or false? Well, technically, yeah, true. But I think he would like you to pronounce it Wiley. But my bet is that everyone in 20XDX in the future is saying Willy behind his back.
Is this a bit like, is that like Keeping Up Appearances Mega Man edition, where it's just...
It's pronounced Wiley! Dr. Willy, the robots are attacking the city!
It's that Willy Man again. Question number 4.
As well.
Oh, very nice. Question number 4. How many rings does Sonic need to collect before he is legally allowed to perform rectal exams?
No, I was going to say something about a ring piece, but you kind of beat me to it there. How many is he allowed to go? I'd say 1, because he can then use that as a practice instrument on how to then examine other rings.
Yeah, he's just waiting for his final exam. Completely correct. Well done.
Great.
And question number 5. Pong is what I call you behind your back because you betrayed me and you smell bad.
Is that true or false again?
Yeah.
I would say false because you'd never do that to me and my best friend.
No, I call you Dr. Willie. So well
That's to
done.
the point either way, so I'm happy.
Yeah, that's good. That's 3 out of 5. That's very, very good. Tom Crowley, where can we find you online?
Oh, well, I'd say the thing I'd ask everyone always to do is to listen to my sketch and character comedy podcast, Crowley Time, which I make by myself. It's a whole kind of independent deal. But even so, I've managed to have some very exciting guests on it. Particularly recently, I had Paul F. Tompkins, the American improv super creature. He came and did a great job in one of the episodes. Just a fantastic bunch of people have come along and had fun with me. But also, a lot of the episodes are just me going mad in my house, talking to myself and editing glorious soundscapes around it. So look up crowleytime.com or search Crowley Time on all podcast apps. And it's all sketch and stuff. It's not a running narrative or anything. It's not just chat like this either, which is amazing. I mean, 98% of podcasts are. But neither is it a long and elaborate effort of narrative. So you can just pick up any episode you like, have a listen to it. If you enjoy it, listen to the rest, please.
For sure. And what have you got handles we can follow you on the social media?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm at Tom Crowley on basically everything except Twitter, which I left. So you can find me most profitably probably on Instagram or Blue Sky are your best bets for hot and fresh new Tom content. Sorry, hot and fresh new Dr. Willie content.
Yes, exactly.
That's what
I should say, I saw a live version of Crowley Time at McConaughey Comedy Festival.
Yeah, you're very nice to come.
Not only great for yourself, but like you had, I keep on thinking about this dynamic of Susan Harrison and Chris Cattrall, because Chris is like chaotic, trying so hard, and is actually really good at a bunch of stuff, but kind of doesn't back himself almost in his ability. Would that be a fair assessment of what he was doing? I think
he's got a kind of self-effacing way about him. I think he's I don't think he knows how great he is sometimes. Yeah,
but he was so funny, and then brilliant. Susan Harrison, who I'd only met that weekend, and she just, I basically just went over. She's like so fucking good at what she does.
She's brilliant.
She just was like at every single moment when you two were like absolute chaos. She was being very funny, but she was just like new character, perfectly performed, perfectly said all the lines, and it's just like, oh my god, she's just so good at it.
She's incredible. Well, I've been very lucky. I mean, we had Chris and Susan Harrison at McHunter last year. I'm coming back to McHunter this year as well. So anyone who's going, check out, I imagine, David, but also check out me out. Check me out, please. And come and see Crowley Time, the new live show, Link's Gambit, a space comedy extravaganza. So the show you saw, we had Chris Cattrall and Susan Harrison. I also did a show at Brasserie Adele with Rufus Hound and Margaret Caborn Smith, who similarly brilliant, chaotic, and incredibly professional. And the one that went out was the first ever performance. If you look up the podcast, you can hear episode 39 of the show was a recording of that live show called The Deponi Contingency, about an insane Italian chef who starts a cult. And the guests I had for that were Gemma Arrowsmith and Paul Putner. And Gemma Arrowsmith's in just everything, in all comedy. She had her own Radio 4 show as well. And Paul Putner will be known to people of our age as the Curious Orange from Lee and Herring. But similarly also is in essentially all TV comedy made ever since then, in the late 90s. So yeah, it was amazing having them both. And if you'll get a good, you may not hear Chris Cattrall and Susan Harrison, but you'll hear the fun and chaos that happened just with two different guest stars.
It's such a great episode. I do really like the fact that there is, I think you can almost collect them in like a British character comedian actor, where I, through Michael Legg, was made aware of Dan Mersh.
Oh, yeah.
And now just whatever I watch. It took me, I had met him and listened to a number of their Iron Maiden pub quiz podcast together before I was like, oh, he's the guy from 15 Stories High, which is one of my favorite shows ever. But it just took me, and when I worked it out, I was like, oh my god, he's like in my favorite show ever, and I've met him and I didn't even realize. But then you're just watching stuff and he just appears in frame, and I think it's one of my favorite things about being in comedy is just I will suddenly go back and watch something I've watched a million times. Watching Garth Marenghi's Dark Place at like 1 a.m, and Matt Green suddenly appears, and I'm like, oh, I know him. And it's like people just appear,
whether you're still awake or not, and like whether you've lost your mind. It's like, oh my god, my friend's in Garth Marenghi.
Yeah. And it's like the more you just discover another amazing like character actor that's just suddenly they're just getting lots of work in all the sorts of things, and they're just in like all the different types of Alan Partridge and all. It's amazing.
If you see an ambulance medic or a policeman in a comedy, it is Neil Edmond. So
Yes.
you then discover Neil Edmond, you'll discover him.
Or a journalist. It's usually
Journalist as well.
Yeah.
Likewise, a sort of Jobsworth who's a bit sort of dismissive about his occupation. It's probably Dan Tetzel. So there you go. As you can see him as well.
And I think what used to happen is we'd all go, "Oh, Kevin Eldon's and everything." And
Kevin
Eldon is like the one you first become aware of that makes
He's
you become
he's
aware.
a gateway, isn't he? Yeah, when you
He's
get
the
into
gateway to just working out how many just like working actors there are, just doing bit parts here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
My final question to all my guests is: can you give me a title for a song, and I will write it and record it and add it in afterwards.
That's right. I did know about this. I think I thought of one a while ago. I'm going to have to reconstruct it now because I forgot this was coming up. Yeah, okay. So I think what I'd like to hear from you is what's the best version of this? Let me just have a quick think. I think what I'd like it to be is welcome back, it's me, Captain Fuck. That should be the title. He's writing it down. It will happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, it legally has to. I've asked you. I shall deliver. I'm wondering, and anything outside of the title, I will always say any other suggestions are welcome, but I won't take them on board necessarily. But it's like, is it welcome back? It's me, Captain Fuck, as in like I am Captain Fuck, or it would be the equivalent of He-Man talking to Skeletor, going, "Welcome back, it's me, Skeletor."
It's me, Skeletor. Like, yeah.
Is in like, are you talking to Captain Fuck, or am I Captain?
You know, I'm actually going to leave that in your hands. I want to know what you do with that.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Tom Crowley, thank you for waking up with a whore. You are most adequate as a human being.
Well, thank you so much. I would say the same to you, and I think it's now business time, so I'm going to get back to business.
Best of luck.
It's time for Captain Fuck. It's time for Captain Fuck. It's time for Captain Fuck.
Welcome back, it's me, Captain Fuck.
Thank you to Tom Crowley there. You can find him online at Tom Crowley. Hopefully, my schedule will be back to normal next week. I usually like to release episodes on Monday. That didn't happen this week because of reasons. Please go check out my new album, The Body, if you haven't already. Please go get tickets for my Leicester Comedy Festival show, my Glasgow International Comedy Festival show, my McCuntliffe Comedy Festival show, and all the other whips. If you go to davidhoare.com/live, you'll find dates and tickets and info. If you haven't already, please go watch my YouTube special, 1000% Musical Comedy. That's on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. Please come to Chops Comedy every Tuesday. Today, I hope you eat 3 meals. I hope you go for a walk. I hope you have a thumb war. I hope you drink lots of squash. And I hope that you're kind to yourself. My name is David Hoare, and thank you for waking up with a whore.
Try and have an adequate day. Meet your basic needs and go be a dick.